I've always been the one to push the envelope, to live life on the edge of what's considered acceptable. My name is Alice, and freedom has been my middle name since I can remember. At 36, married to Mark for over a decade, I've never been told. No. Mark, with his laid-back charm, has always been the wind beneath my wings, supporting every wild whim I've had. Our life together has been a tapestry of adventures, laughter, and an unspoken pact that I could chase any dream, no matter how outlandish. But today something was different. A fire was burning within me, an urge to break my own records, to do something so audacious that it would leave an indelible mark on my soul. I had this vision, this wild, pulsating desire to experience something extraordinary. So, I booked the most opulent suite at the Grandview Hotel, a place renowned for its secrecy and indulgence. I invited a select group of men, each with their own magnetic pull. There was Jack, the artist whose eyes sparkled with the promise of adventure. Tom, the writer whose quiet intensity could fill a room, and others, each bringing their unique flavor to the mix. As I readied myself for the evening, a cocktail of excitement and nerve swirled within me. Mark, ever the supportive partner, agreed to capture the entire event on film, every moment, every heartbeat. What could possibly go wrong when you have the freedom to do anything you desire? The suite was a sanctuary of luxury, with soft lighting that danced off the walls, creating an ambiance that whispered of forbidden pleasures. I could feel the anticipation in the air, thick like the perfume I dabbed on my wrists. The suite was opulent, with plush carpets, velvet drapes, and an ambiance that whispered of secrets and indulgence. Mark set up his camera, ensuring every angle was covered. The men began to arrive, each greeted with a smile and a drink. There was a palpable sense of anticipation in the air, a collective breath held in suspense. I mingled, my laughter mingling with the clink of glasses. Jack, with his disarming smile, approached me first. His hug was gentle, almost tentative, and I reciprocated, feeling the warmth of his embrace. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere grew more electric. The men, now more at ease, started to engage more freely. They lifted me into their arms, a playful gesture that turned into a game of tossing me lightly into the air. Their laughter filled the room, and for a moment, it felt like a scene from a surreal, joyous dream. But what happens when the game turns into something more? The playful tossing soon became more intimate, their hands lingering a bit longer, their eyes holding mine with a new intensity. The room seemed to close in, the air charged with an unspoken promise of something beyond the playful. Jack's gaze was particularly intense, his fingers tracing the outline of my face, sending shivers down my spine. Tom, with his quiet intensity, whispered words that seemed to dance with the shadows, each syllable a caress. The others, each in their own way, began to weave a tapestry of desire around me. The room's opulence, once a backdrop, now seemed to amplify every sensation. The plush carpet felt like a cloud beneath my feet as I was passed from one set of arms to another, each touch more daring than the last. The playful tossing soon transitioned into something more intimate. As I was gently placed back on my feet, Tom, with his intense gaze, stepped forward. He kissed me, and I kissed him back. The room watched in a mix of shock and fascination. The boundary between play and something deeper blurred. One by one, the men approached, each kiss a testament to the night's theme of breaking boundaries. Mark, behind the camera, captured every moment, his face unreadable. The room was charged, with an energy that was both exhilarating and unsettling. Then, it happened. I crossed the line I had never intended to cross. With Jack, the connection deepened, and what started as part of the game became a moment of infidelity, right in front of Mark's eyes. The room fell silent as Jack's lips met mine. A kiss that lingered. A kiss that spoke of desires unspoken. His hands, strong and sure, guided me closer, and I felt the world around us fade into a distant hum. The others watched, their expressions a mix of awe and uncertainty. Mark, my Mark, stood frozen, the camera still in his hands, but his eyes, they were no longer capturing the scene. They were part of it. His gaze, once supportive, now bore into me with a mix of betrayal and confusion. I could see the gears turning in his mind, the realization that this game had taken a turn he hadn't anticipated. The kiss with Jack was different, not just a playful peck, but a deep, soulful connection. It was as if time itself paused, allowing us to explore this forbidden territory. My heart raced, not just from the thrill of the moment, but from the weight of what it meant. As we parted, the room's atmosphere shifted. The playful energy was replaced by a palpable tension. The men, sensing the change, stepped back, their roles in this drama now uncertain. Mark's reaction was slow, deliberate. He lowered the camera, his eyes never leaving mine. There was a storm brewing behind those eyes, a storm of emotions I had never seen before. He took a step forward, his voice barely above a whisper. "Alice, what are we doing here?" The room fell into a hush, the only sound the soft click of the camera. Mark's face was a mask of calm, but his eyes told a different story. I could see the conflict, the hurt, and yet he continued to film, perhaps out of a sense of duty or shock. The men, sensing the shift, began to retreat, their earlier enthusiasm replaced by a sober realization of what had transpired. Jack, looking somewhat guilty, whispered an apology, but the damage was done. His words were a mere echo in the now heavy air. "I'm sorry, Alice. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I felt a rush of emotions, exhilaration from the freedom, guilt for the betrayal, and confusion about what this meant for my marriage. The thrill of the night had morphed into something dark and unsettling. I looked at Mark, his expression unreadable, yet I could sense the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. The camera, still in his hands, seemed like an extension of his betrayal. It had captured every moment, every touch, every kiss, but now it felt like a witness to our undoing. Mark's voice broke through the silence. "Alice, what are we doing? Here?" His tone was not accusatory, but it carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken questions. I stood there, the center of this chaotic universe, feeling the gravity of my actions. The freedom I had sought was now a chain, binding me to consequences I hadn't foreseen. "Mark, I don't know," I stammered, my voice barely a whisper, the adrenaline of the evening draining away, leaving only the stark reality. The men, now mere shadows in the periphery, began to leave, their footsteps a soft retreat from the scene of our unraveling. Each exit felt like a piece of the night's magic dissipating, leaving behind the cold truth of our situation. Mark set the camera down, his movements deliberate, as if each action was a step towards understanding or perhaps acceptance. "We need to talk, Alice," he said, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying the turmoil within. I nodded, the weight of the night pressing down on me. The suite, once Mark finally lowered the camera, his expression now clear. He approached me, his voice steady but his eyes stormy. "Alice, what have we done?" he asked, not in anger, but with a profound sadness. The room emptied, leaving just the three of us, Mark, me, and the silent camera. We sat down, the weight of the night pressing down on us. Mark spoke about trust of boundaries, and of the love that had always been our foundation. His words were like a gentle wave, washing over the chaos of the evening, reminding me of the life we had built together. I realized then that my quest for breaking records had broken something far more precious. The thrill of the night, the rush of breaking boundaries, had blinded me to the consequences. I had crossed a line, not just in our marriage, but in our very souls. Mark's voice was soft, almost a whisper, as he continued, "We've always been about pushing limits, Alice, but tonight, we've pushed something else. We've pushed our trust, our respect for each other to the edge, and I'm not sure if it can come back from this." I felt a lump in my throat, the reality of our situation settling in. "Mark, I didn't mean for it to go this far," I said, my voice trembling. "I thought it was just a game, a playful exploration. But I see now it was more than that. It was a breach of our vows, of our trust." He nodded, his eyes reflecting the pain of betrayal. "I know you didn't intend this, Alice, but intentions don't erase actions. We've always been honest with each other, even in our wildest adventures. Tonight, that honesty was lost in the excitement." The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the echoes of laughter that had turned into a haunting reminder of what we had lost. I reached for his hand, feeling the warmth of his skin, a stark contrast to the coldness that had settled in my heart. "Mark, can we find our way back?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, hoping against hope. He looked at me, his gaze searching. In the quiet aftermath, Mark and I sat on the plush velvet couch, the weight of our actions pressing down on us like the heavy drapes that surrounded the room. The silence was thick, filled with the echoes of laughter that had turned into a haunting reminder of what we had lost. Mark's voice was soft, almost a whisper, as he broke the silence. "Alice, we need to talk about what freedom means to us, about trust, and about our future together." His words were like a gentle wave, washing over the chaos of the evening, reminding me of the life we had built together. I nodded, feeling the gravity of the moment. "I know, Mark. I've been thinking, my need for thrill, for breaking boundaries, it blinded me to the consequences. I didn't mean for it to go this far," I confessed, my voice trembling with the realization of my misstep. He took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting the pain of betrayal. "I know you didn't intend this, Alice, but intentions don't erase actions. We've always been honest with each other, even in our wildest adventures. Tonight, that honesty was lost in the excitement. We talked, really talked, about what had happened." Mark admitted his part in enabling this scenario, perhaps out of a misguided sense of love or fear of losing me. "I thought I was supporting your freedom, but I see now it was enabling something else," he said, his voice heavy with regret. The conversation was raw, filled with confessions and apologies. We decided, then and there, to seek counseling. Not just to mend what was broken, but to rebuild our relationship on a foundation stronger than before. We need to redefine what freedom means for us, I said, my voice firm with determination. Not as a license to do anything, but as the freedom to grow together, respecting each other's limits and desires. Mark agreed, his hand finding mine, squeezing it gently. We'll get through this, Alice. We'll find our way back to each other, but it has to be different this time. More open, more honest. The camera footage, a silent witness to our misstep, was don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.